On October 26, 1999, a 21-year-old woman rode her bicycle to Okagawa Station in Saitama Prefecture, Japan. She was heading to afternoon classes at her college. She had done this ride dozens of times. She knew every crack in the sidewalk, every turn, every shadow. What she didn't know was that 3 men had been watching her home for 4 months. One was sitting in a parked car near the station right now, watching her approach. Another was on the phone, giving the signal, and the third was walking toward her with a knife. In January 1999, 21-year-old woman Shiori met a man at an amusement arcade near Omiya Station. He was 26, well-dressed, charming. He told her his name was Kazuhito Komatsu, and that he was a 23-year-old entrepreneur who dealt in cars, real estate, and precious metals. None of this was true. Kazuhito Komatsu operated a chain of brothels with his older brother Takeshi. He lied to Shiori and called them massage parlors. And the age gap wasn't 3 years, it was 5. Every single word out of his mouth was a fabrication designed to make a quiet, diligent university student believe she had met someone successful and trustworthy. Now here's where pattern of control begins, and it starts faster than you'd expect. After only 4 or 5 dates, Komatsu started showing up with Louis Vuitton handbags, Gucci suits, expensive gifts, always presented in public places where others could see. And when Shiori tried to refuse them, he screamed at her, not quietly, not privately. He screamed abuse at her in public. Think about that for a moment. A man she had known for barely a few weeks was already using expensive gifts as weapons, objects she never asked for, presented so that refusal would make her look ungrateful in front of strangers. This wasn't generosity. This was a cage being built around her, one gift at a time. He started calling her at home. She had only given him her cell phone number. He had found her landline. That detail matters, because it means he was already investigating her, already crossing boundaries, already hunting. Shiori found a credit card in his car. It had his real name on it. And when she confronted him, when she tried to walk away, he threatened her until she agreed to keep seeing him. On March 24th, 1999, Shiori confided in a friend that she feared for her life. She was 20 years old. 6 days later, on March 30th, she wrote a will. A 20-year-old university student wrote a will because a man she had dated for 2 months had made her believe she might die. She tried again to end the relationship. Komatsu responded by threatening her family, specifically her younger brother, who was in elementary school. Let that settle. He threatened a child to keep a woman trapped. On June 14th, Shiori met Komatsu at a cafe and told him, clearly and finally, that she would never see him again. That same day, Komatsu, his brother Takeshi, and a friend went to the Ino family home. They presented Shiori and her mother with a series of fabricated lies about fictional debts. They threatened her father when he came home from work, but Shiori had done something they didn't expect. She had brought an audio recorder to the cafe, and when the 3 men showed up at her family home, she recorded every single word, every threat, every lie, every name. The next day, June 15th, she walked into the Saitama Prefecture police station in Ajeo and presented the recording. She gave them evidence, audio evidence, of threats, of extortion, of a man who had been stalking her for months. One younger officer was outraged. He wanted to act. But the senior officers told Shiori she had no case. No case. audio recordings of men threatening her family and her home, and the police said no case. That same day, the Ino family started receiving phone calls. Someone calling himself Tanaka, demanding the return of the gifts. Then silent calls. 20 silent calls. Then more. A daily barrage that would not stop until October 26th, the day Shiori was murdered. On June 16th, Shiori went back to the police, this time with both parents. The police refused again, and this time they went further. They suggested that Shiori was at fault, that she had accepted expensive gifts from a smitten suitor and was now crying foul. One officer told her, essentially, that she had brought this on herself. The family then went to a free legal clinic run by the Chamber of Commerce. The lawyer listened for 15 minutes and said, "But she had a lot of things bought for her, right? Let me be very clear about what happened here. A 21-year-old woman walked into 2 institutions designed to protect her, the police and the legal system, with audio evidence of threats against her life, and both institutions told her the problem was her. Now the timeline accelerates. On June 22nd, Komatsu approached a 33-year-old man named Yoshifumi Kubota, a former manager at one of his brothels. He offered him 20 million yen, roughly 180,000 US dollars, to murder Shiori Ino. 20 million yen to kill a 21-year-old student whose only crime was trying to leave him. Kubota agreed. He recruited 2 accomplices, Akira Kawakami and Yoshitaka Ito. They obtained a photograph of Shiori. They began watching her residence. They watched the train station. They planned the route, the timing, the escape. On July 5th, Komatsu left Saitama Prefecture for Naha, Okinawa, over 1,500 kilometers away. He was building an alibi. He arranged the murder of a woman he claimed to love, and then flew to a tropical island to be able to say he wasn't there when it happened. For 4 months, the harassment escalated. Hundreds of posters appeared throughout Shiori's neighborhood, slandering her and her father. Letters were sent to her father's workplace. The family collected everything: the posters, the letters, photos of license plates of cars parked outside their home. They went to the police again and again and again. The police did nothing. Worse than nothing. Senior officers actively obstructed the family's attempts to file libel charges because they were worried that having unresolved open cases on their record would hurt their professional standing. They prioritized their own careers over a young woman's life. On October 26, 1999, Shiori Ino left her home on her bicycle, heading for Okinawa Station. Ito was parked nearby, watching. He called Kawakami. Kawakami drove to the station and dropped off Kubota. As Shiori got off her bicycle, Kubota walked up to her and stabbed her once in the side. She turned. He stabbed her again, directly in the heart. She was pronounced dead at 12:50 p.m. at Ajeo Central General Hospital. The cause of death was shock due to massive bleeding. She was 21 years old. But the horror didn't end with her death, because what happened next reveals something deeply rotten about the system that was supposed to protect her. Within hours of the murder, the Saitama Prefecture Police launched a disinformation campaign. They told reporters that Shiori Ino was a promiscuous flirt with a taste for expensive brand-name goods. They painted her as someone who had lived a reckless lifestyle. The tabloids picked it up. Then the mainstream press. They manufactured lurid, entirely fictional stories about Shiori working as an escort. The police, the same police who had refused to help her when she was alive, were now destroying her reputation after she was dead to cover up their own incompetence. A dead woman cannot defend herself, and the Saitama police knew that. They used it. The Komatsu brothers and their accomplices were not arrested because of police work. They were arrested because of one man, a journalist named Kiyoshi Shimizu. Shimizu investigated the case on his own. He traced the threats, the stalking, the harassment back to Komatsu. He published his findings in the magazine Focus, and for the first time, the public saw a photograph of the man who had orchestrated Shiori's murder. On December 19th, Kubota was arrested. The next day, Takeshi Komatsu, Kawakami, and Ito were arrested. On January 16th, 2000, 8 more people were arrested for assisting in the harassment campaign. A warrant was issued for Kazuhito Komatsu, but he had fled to Sapporo, Hokkaido. Shimizu tracked him there. On January 27th, Komatsu's body was found in a lake in Teshikaga. He had killed himself, and a note in his hotel luggage revealed that he had planned to die soon after he arranged Shiori's murder. He had always intended to die. He just made sure Shiori died first. In the aftermath, the Japanese judicial system finally moved. 3 senior police officers, Toshio Katagiri, Hirokazu Furuta, and Tsuyoshi Honda, were convicted of falsifying documents. They had refused to process Shiori's charges. They had buried her. Complaints. They were given suspended sentences, no jail time. Kubota received 18 years. Kawakami and Ito each received 15. Takeshi Komatsu was sentenced to life imprisonment. He appealed to the Supreme Court. The life sentence was upheld. In November 2000, 1 year after Shiori's death, Japan enacted its first anti-stalking law. It was called the Stalker Regulation Act, and it exists because a 21-year-old woman was failed by every system she trusted, and because a journalist refused to let the truth be buried. Shiori's family sued the Saitama police. In 2003, a district court ordered the prefectural government to pay 5.5 million yen in damages, roughly $50,000, for betraying Shiori's trust. But the court did not rule that police negligence had caused her death. The Supreme Court upheld that decision in 2006. The police were ordered 26 years after his daughter's death. Kenichi Ino, Shiori's father, still travels to police academies across Japan to lecture on stalking. He stands in front of the very institutions that failed his daughter and teaches them what they should have already known. He does this because the system that killed his daughter still exists. It has been patched. It has been amended. But the culture that told a 21-year-old woman she was at fault for accepting gifts she never asked for, the culture does not disappear with a single law. Shiori Ino did everything right. She recorded the threats. She went to the police. She went to a lawyer. She collected evidence. She told her friends she was afraid. She wrote a will because she knew. She did everything a person is supposed to do when the system tells you to seek help. And the system let her die. This is not just a true crime story. This is a story about what happens when institutions designed to protect people decide that a young woman's life is not worth the paperwork. Shiori Ino was 21 years old. She was a university student. She was quiet. She was diligent. She was loved. And she should be alive today. If this story affected you, don't let it end here. Share it. Talk about it. Because the systems that fail victims only change when enough people refuse to look away. The police looked away. The lawyer looked away. The tabloids looked away. Don't you look away too.